Yeah, please just try to increase. Or you should try to maximize. Oh. Is this thing gonna work? I think I should just use my screen, please. Well, I will try to.
I beg, you can equally refer to the recording video, please, because this is going to slow us down.
It's going to
Just
slow
thinking
us down.
like,
Yes, please. All right, thank you, Depo. Let me just share my screen. I will try as much as possible to be slow.
Yeah, it's better since they are recording it.
Yes.
Being recorded. It's better use your screen.
So from my end, this is my terminal. I have my terminal. Yeah, so let me try to log in. So I'm still using this. This is my PAM file for login. So I'm logging in now. Okay, so now I'm logged in. Now, after logging in, what we want to do now is we want to do initial configuration. We don't want to be logging in with default user. Let's assume we need different access. We need different access for different people here. Okay, so try to create a user. Let me create a user for myself. Or I think I already did. I already created one for myself. Let me try to create for Simi here. So for me to create Simi user, I just use user add. Now, sorry, when you're working with terminal, there's something we call privileges. There are some commands you cannot run as an ordinary user. Okay, so you have to give yourself the privilege. You have to give yourself an admin. You have to switch to an admin, a privileged user to be able to run those commands. So now for you to do that now, if I run user hard simi, it's going to tell me I'm not privileged to do it because I'm not logged in. Okay, so he said because I don't it doesn't recognize me as a sudoer. You need a sudoer right. They call it sudoer right to be able to run some commands. There are some commands you can easily run, and there are some commands you have to be in sudo mode to be able to run those commands. So because I just run user add simi is complaining. So how do I switch to that mode? What I just have to do is I just have to add sudo at the end of this command. Just add sudo at the end of this command. Okay, so enter. So you see there are no response here. If you get a clear line, it actually means the command ran successfully. Okay, so now that's one thing. For me to avoid to be typing sudo at the end of every command, it's a lot stressful. It's a lot stressful for me. I don't like putting sudo at the end of every command. So all I just do is, if I just switch to a permanent sudo user, I'll just say sudo su. Take note of this, Okay, before I do that, let me show you this. Take note at this blinking prompt here. You see it's a $sign. It actually means you are running as an ordinary user. So let's switch to a sudo user now. Okay. So please, once it logs us out, let's log in back. So now let me do a permanent sudo user now. To do that, you just do sudo su. It's going to change this symbol permanently to hash. So you can see permanently to hash. So you can see that, right? Now, if I do user add depo, I don't have to add sudo user add depo. I don't have to add sudo. It's going to run it. Now, all I've just done is I've created a user called simi and a user called depo. How do I see them? I can easily just, if I go to this directory, sorry, don't bother. I'm going to talk more about this directory switching, but then I just want to show you something. Just go to home. Is it home? Okay, I think it doesn't create it yet. How are you not creating it yet? Okay, no worries. Let me try to give it password and see what we have. So now we've created two users. we created the first user Devops and we created the second user Simi. Now all we've done is we've only created the user. Let's now assign a password to it so that Simi can log in with that and Devops can log in with that. So to do that now, what we have to do is, this is the command, password. This is how you do it. Password, then Simi. So it's going to request for the password. So let me just give it a password. It's going to tell me to retype. Now that's created successfully. We can also do the same thing too for Devops. We just say password for Devops. Password for Devops. Let's create the password too. We type the password. Okay, so that is created successfully. Now if I try to what's happening? Sorry, come on. I'm getting obsolete in usage of Windows, man. It's been a while. So let me create a new terminal and try to log in using that username and password and see what we have. Now it's going to reject it. Why? Because I've not given it the I've not actually enabled it. Let me try to run it now and say, let me copy the IP address. AWS IP address. The system resources. Wow. Okay, so now let me just do SSH Simi at the IP address and see. It's still not going to work. Now let's okay, let me see. You know, before it was saying something else. Oh, sorry, I already configured that. Let me show you how I did it. This is not a new server. Okay, so if you're doing it from your hand as a first timer, what you have to do is you have to go to this directory. Just I'm going to teach you directory switching, you know, how to navigate around. But for you to just do that, you go to this directory. VI. I'm just trying to do the initial server setup anyway. You know, that's the first thing. Once you create the server, you have to create a user. But then maybe you just have to memorize this command for now until you understand. But we are going to definitely do it today. So what you just have to do is, I know where the file is, where the file you have to edit. I know where it is, which is in etc. It's inside etc /sshd. So the name of the file is sshd_config. So you can see this file. That's the name of the file. Name of the file is ssh_config. Okay, then I hit my enter. So now this is what you have to change. You have to change this particular line. Okay, let me show you so you can see the number. So I'm trying to look for the number. Please be careful because this place is very delicate. It can crash a server if you are not careful, if you go and do what you're not supposed to do. So now look at line 57. You see line 57. If the server is new, this password authentication by default is set to no. So you have to change it to yes. Password authentication. Then once you are done, hit your escape. Oh, now once you open the file, please take a look at my screen. Once you open the file, this is what you have. Now, at this part, at the bottom of the screen, if I try to type anything here, if I try, okay, let me just try to type something at the beginning at line 1. If I try to type, it's not going. I'm trying to press some things now. It's not pressing. Why? Because there's a mode. There is an edit mode. There is an edit mode. There's a way I can enter edit mode, and there's a way I can just be able to just read, just read and not be able to do anything. So now to enter the edit mode, which is normally called insert mode, for you to enter the insert mode, once you open the file, especially when you're using vi command, just type your I. Don't worry about that. Just memorize it for now, okay? Just type your I. Once you open the file to edit, type your I. Just tap your I once. And look at the bottom here. You can see this insert signal. This insert actually means now you are ready to type. That is when you can now type anything you want to type. So I can type anything now, okay? And once I'm done typing, I have to exit this mode. For me to exit that mode, I have to hit my escape. Just tap your escape once, okay? You see the insert has disappeared. Once you click on the exit, then look at the bottom of the screen, your semicolon. Just type your semicolon. You see this? You see the semicolon? Now, if you want to save, you type WQ. W actually means write, and Q actually means quit. If you don't want to save, you just type your Q. Okay, if I type Q, it's not going to save. But if I type WQ actually means write and quit. So write actually means save that file and close. Okay, so let me type WQ now and hit enter. So it's going to close it. Okay, so once you've done that, once you've saved it, once you've changed the password authentication to yes, and you tap your escape and semicolon WQ, you have to restart this service. Please just try to memorize this step. You are going to understand it later. Okay, the first configuration. So once you do that, you have to restart this service. Okay, so how do you restart it? Just type this command: systemctl restart sshd. Okay, now immediately you do that, you can just go and run your SSH simi at the IP. It's going to ask for your password and you'll be able to log in, which is what we did here. So now I can log in with Devops and insert the password as well. It's asking me for the password. So it's as simple as that for you to configure username and password for your system to be able to log in and log out. So now let's move straight to Linux administrative proper. Let me clear my screen. So to clear your screen, if you think it's too messy, just clear, and it's going to clear the screen. So now we have a clean, clear screen. Oops.
Recording in progress.
Okay, let's just wait for others, please.
But look, have you tried seeing if you can use Microsoft Teams for this session?
It doesn't have record. That's why.
It does.
Microsoft Teams.
Yes, it has record option. Yeah.
All right. I'll try to explore that because what I explored, I was trying to explore Google Meet today, but just disappointed. I think they
Google Meet. So they also, but it's also time bound. But the only
no,
one I know
it's
that
not.
it's not
They stopped.
really time bound.
They stopped doing recording. Google Meet stopped doing recording this year. They just started. They just stopped it this year. That was what I read anyway. Very annoying.
Microsoft Teams. My organization uses Microsoft Teams, and you can record.
I will explore it and see. Yeah, I will explore it and see. Yeah. Thank you.
And there's no time limit actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I will try. Yes. Sure. So, I believe you can see my screen now. Okay. So, now for you to use your command on Linux now, there are some commands that you can easily run. They are just alone. So when you're running commands, there are different kind of commands. In this class, definitely, you are not going to be taught everything. There are a lot of things that you just go and read on your own, and there are a lot of things that you grab while practicing. But at least the basic ones, you should be able to get it. Now, the first command that I feel you should really get used to is pwd. It's not like your desktop or your GUI that you can just easily view and know where you are. But in Linux now, to really know where you are, that's what you use your pwd for. Because when you look at this now, at times it might just it might not display everything, like you'll not be able to know where your present location. So that is what this pwd is for, to know your present working directory. That's pwd, present working directory. So now it's telling you like now you are presently working in /home/ubuntu. Now how do you, when you're talking about // in Ubuntu, there's something we call absolute directory and relative directory. So absolute directory is in relation to the root. That is, everything on this laptop, everything on this virtual machine is in this root directory. That is the starting point, which is the root directory of this machine. So everything in this machine is located inside this /. So now, if you look at this now, this home, this first directory, which is home, you should find it here. Okay. Now let's do something now. In relative to this root directory, let's switch to media and see what we have there. Okay, or etc. Just do okay. For you to switch directory, there's this command you actually use, which is cd. They call it change directory. Okay, so let's change directory to this media and see what we have there. So do cd into media. Okay, now it's my bad. See what really happened here? It says no file or no such file existed because I'm still in this directory called Ubuntu, home Ubuntu. Okay, so now for me to switch to this directory, I have to specify the absolute path, and that absolute path actually means in relation to the root directory. Okay, so now if I want to do anything now, let's say I want to change to this media now, I'll just have to do cd /media. Now let me do pwd now. You see media. Now let's look at what is in media. For you to view what is inside a directory, how do you check that? Directory is like a folder, on your Windows. You just double click and see what is inside. Now in our case now, you just look at it, just type ls. It's going to show us everything that is inside this media. Now what it's telling us is it's actually empty because nothing is showing. Okay, let's change to another directory, which is etc, which is located in this root. You remember, right? ls forward slash. Ls actually means list what is in the directory. Okay, so if you want to list, that's what ls is for. So you just do ls forward slash, which is root. So that is etc. Let me clear. So now we've cleared. So let's do cd into etc and see what we have. Okay, so now I've changed my directory to etc. Let's see what we have inside etc. You see, we have a lot of files. So these are a lot of files, different files, folders, and all. Okay, so now now that we've been able to view what we have inside our file, now let's now try to explore what absolute and relative directory is. Now remember, absolute, when you're talking about absolute actually means you have to specify from the root directory. Just like the other time when I wanted to change that file, what did I do? I have to say vi forward slash etc, that is absolute directory, forward slash ssh. This ssh, if you remember, when I was trying to change the when I was trying to change the login, the sshd config the other time, I have to go to this directory forward slash sshd forward slash, if you remember, sshd, this into this file. Now let's try to explore what we have inside this etc. This is telling us there is a file inside etc called ssh, and another file inside this ssh called sshd config. Now let's try to check here. You see a file called, because you are inside etc, let's do ls and see. So let's check ssh. So you can see this file now. This is the ssh. So now let's see what is inside this ssh. Okay, how do we check that? Just do ls ssh. Okay, you remember the other time what we were doing before was ls. If you just specify ls, it's going to list the files and folder in the present working directory that you are located. But if you specify a directory, okay, it's going to tell you what is inside that directory. That's why we're specifying. Now we want to check the content of ssh. That's why we are putting ssh here. So now it's going to tell us what is inside. So now see the file we edited the other time. There it is. Okay, and now I want you to notice something. Now you see, this is what we call relative directory. You are not doing it from the root anymore. You are doing it like you're finding your location. Like, okay, now I'm in Saudi Arabia. You're in Nigeria. You want to get a file. You want to get something you want to get something in Ghana. Okay, now if I want to describe it, I will have to describe it in relation to my location from Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's relative, so it's different. Now if you want to get it from Nigeria, you have to describe it in relation to your location in Nigeria. Okay, so now let's assume we are three now. There's somebody in US, there's somebody in Saudi Arabia, and both of us are from Nigeria. Okay, and let's take for instance now, how can we do it now? How can I better explain? We both have the same origin, which is Nigeria. So let's assume we want to do anything. We want to do anything in Lagos or Abuja. Our base location now is in Nigeria. We both have a common base, which is in Nigeria. So now if we want to do anything, we have to find our base as in Nigeria. But let's assume we are doing it based on our present location. Like, okay, let's assume presently now I just want to travel. Probably I want to go to Dubai, and the person from US want to go to Dubai. Our location is definitely different. Okay, but let's assume we have to pick something else because all of us are Nigeria. Probably maybe we have to do some accreditation, a lot of things that you could do before you travel out. You have to go back to Nigeria before going to Dubai. So that's just what this is all about, the relative and the absolute. So now, because we are presently in etc, that's why we just switched straight to SSH, and it was able to to show it to us SSH. Now that is relative. Now let's list based on absolute. You just do ls. What is absolute? Absolute is from the root, which is the base. That is absolute. So if you're talking about absolute, you have to start from the base, which is the /. So /etc ssh, then sshd. That's where you see the file. Okay, so you see, so take note, this is absolute, this is specifying the directory absolutely, and this is relatively. I hope you grab that.
Yeah, noted. It's more of like file location.
Yes.
Using file locations to search some certain elements. Oh, noted.
Yes, exactly. So it's just about you just navigating around. Yeah, and then I see somebody's comment. We need this in Google Doc and share to everyone. Can someone take that up? Yeah, I think I actually plan to actually share resources that could really be of help anyway. Probably maybe Guru 99. I was talking to someone. I do a lot of learning from Guru 99. There's another one, G2G. So you can just check all those. I'll try and share it anyway. So you can just pick yourself up from that. So I'm just trying to give you a basic foundation here. Okay. So now that's the first thing. That's you just navigating around. That's just trying to navigate around using your Linux. So now the next thing now is okay.
So I just want to clear something. In those 5 directories, the one that are colored blue, let's say for this one now, this particular, can you please scroll up a bit?
Okay.
No, up. Yes. So let's assume now that for this protocols is like a folder, and Python 3 and code, the rest of them in blue are the files inside that folder. Am I right? I'm asking, sir.
No.
Is this something?
No.
Okay.
This protocol is actually telling us, because it's written in white anyway, it's telling us this is a file. Though you are going to get there, I actually plan to show you how to differentiate all these things. Okay, this is actually this should be a file. This one in blue is a folder. The ones in blue is a folder. So how can you know? So let's just say ls for you to know. Let me not jump anywhere. I'm still coming there. Okay.
All right, sir.
Yeah. So now that's the basic command. Okay. So now there's something we now call option. So option is just a way of changing the behavior. If you take a look now, let's change directory to SSH. Okay. You remember your CD is changing directory, just like you're double clicking on your Windows. So now I'm double clicking on this SSH now in Linux way. So just double click and enter. So what do we have inside SSH? So you can see it just shows all these things. You don't really know what they are. Okay, so now that is where some option actually comes into play. There's something option is just a way for changing the behavior of a command. Okay, so for you to specify option, you just put hyphen. So ls hyphen time. So now we want to know the time that all these files were created. So for you to do that, you just do -t. T actually stands for time. No, I think LAT. Let me do LAT. LT. Yeah. Okay. So now you can see a lot of information about this. This L actually means long list with time. Okay. So now look at it now. You are able to get a lot more information on the particular file. Instead of it just listing the name of the file, you're able to get more information on the file by passing some option. Okay. Now look at this now. This is the first file, which is sshd config, which was the first file we configured, if you remember. All this is the time it was created. What's this number? I really can't relate to this number anyway. I can't relate to this number, but this first root here is actually telling you this is group. This is the group, the group owner. We'll talk about this later too. And this is the user. This is the owner of the file. So they talk about the owner and they talk about the owner and the group. So now you can create a file, like Simi can create a file and say this file, let it belong to group Depo. So everybody that belongs to Depo group to have access to it, but the main owner is Simi. That's what this is just telling you. So the owner of the file is root, and the group that owns the file is root as well. Okay, so that's what you have here. Now all this actually has meaning. We are going to get there as well. All this RW, R, and all that you're seeing here, you are going to get there. So let's just keep going. Okay, so now that's how to know options. Okay, so to specify option, you just put hyphen. So you can just get an option of a file, and if you want to read more about a command, you just do help. So now someone should ask a question: why am I using double hyphen here instead of a single hyphen? So when you're talking about double hyphen is you are telling the command like, don't treat all these characters as individual option, treat them as a word. So if you use two hyphen, it actually means they are word. But if you use a single hyphen, it's going to treat them as they have different okay, look at this nice complaint. It said doesn't know what E is. Are you getting it? He's speaking them as one, as individual behavior. Each character has individual behavior. That's what he's saying it, because I'm using a single hyphen. Okay, so that's just how to change a behavior. So now that's option. So you can either use your double hyphen, help with help you can get to learn more about a command. Okay, so you can just read about this command, just like help. So it's going to tell you, okay, ls option, information about files and all, sort file. So if you don't know how to use a command, just type your help here in front of the command and it's going to give you more information. So these are some of the things you can just play around with. Okay, so look at it now. So you can check the size by specifying size or specifying ss. So let's do that now. Look at this now. You can see it, right? So let's do ls-s. Okay, I think I have to put L first. Okay. Oh, sorry. What I said I didn't know the other time is actually for size. Yeah. It's for size, to know the size of a file. Okay. So this is the size of the file, and instead of using that, you can also specify double hyphen and size. So anyone that is more convenient for you. How do you use size? Is it like I have to specify L? All right. So anyone that is more convenient for you, just make use of it. Okay. So that is options. That's for doing options. Then another thing that you talk about here is argument. So that's when you're issuing command. Now we are just talking about command in general. So the first one we talked about is using your command, which is, a standalone command, something like pwd. You have your pwd, you have your host name. All those ones, they stay alone. Okay, they just stay alone. You can run them alone. Then you can also play around with your some needs behavior, maybe adding your option to it, just like we did with hyphenality. Just play around with that. Then now there are some they actually need arguments. So argument is a way, there are some commands they need extra information. Just like when we wanted to add this, when we ran the user add the other time. If I run user add, it's going to throw error like, what am I expecting? My information is not yet completed, so it's expecting more information. Those are arguments. So you can say user add, you can add user add. Let me add Simi again. It's going to tell me it's already existing. So Simi already existed. So that is argument. Okay, and there are some other things that I can run on this same command again. Like if I run, I can specify the group. The other I just say user add Simi. I can specify the group that Simi belongs to. I can specify the user ID, a lot of things I could just specify. You have it in your help, just like I told you. To learn more about a command, you just do user -help. So okay, why is this? Oh, user add, sorry. User add -help. So it's going to give you more information about how you could use that particular command. So I hope I've been able to demystify some things about using commands. Why do we have to do this? We have to do this because as time goes on, we'll be using this command times and again. So you just have to understand all these basic commands. So now, let's go to the next part. Let's go to the next part now. Let's talk about if you run this command now, how does it know what that means? In such scenario, there's something we call path. That is where the path actually means where the Linux is actually getting, how do I put it? Is getting the commands from. Like, okay, where are you searching? Which direction are you searching to be able to make a sense of what is being issued here? Okay, so let's take for instance now. Okay, there's this command they call echo. Echo means print, like just say something. So now let's run echo now. Let's run this command echo. My name is Bolu. So those that have experience of programming, like if you want to type a string, you have to surround it with a quote. Okay, so for you to have a string, you have to surround it with a quote. So my name is Bolu. My name is Bolu. So it's going to print my name is Bolu on the next terminal. You can see that, right? So now let's know the paths that are available that Linux is actually searching, to get the command. There's this variable already in Linux environment. Okay, no, let's do this, print env. If you run this command, it's going to tell you some environment variable that has been defined. You may not really worry about this anyway, but for those that are interested, so they call it environment variable. That is some variable that has been set before now. So when you just scroll, you just say, look at this now. We have shell. They said shell equals to /bin/bash. Those are environment variable that are set. Now this is what I wanted to check. Paths. So these are the paths of the executables. So now when you issue a command, what Linux is going to do is it's going to look at this directory and look for that command. Is there anything like that command? Is it located in any of this directory? If it's not located, there is going to say no, I can't find it. Let's say for instance now, I just run user, just like you saw the error the other time. You see, it says user not found. Why? Because it checked all this directory individually. It didn't find anything like user. Okay, so let me print this directory. If you want to print something, if you want to print a variable, just do echo, then the variable. How do you specify that it's a variable? You're referencing a variable, just put a $sign and path. So it's going to print this same thing you are seeing here. You see, it printed it out. Let me clear it so you can see. Echo path. Okay. You see, so it's printed it out. So now take note of this. These are different paths. Individual paths are separated by colon. Okay, individual paths or different paths are separated by colon. So now if you run your ls, definitely this ls, if I check one of these directory, I should be able to find ls there. I should be able to find something like ls or even user add. So let me say ls, this directory that I just copied. Let's locate it and see, okay, nothing is user. Okay, let's check ls /usr/bin. Okay, so now if you search through here now, you should be able to see some of the commands we've been running since. Let's see users. So now there's a command called users, not user. Okay. So user had is not here. Let's see first ls is here. What I'm just trying to tell you is each of those directory has some executables. Let me look for ls, or if you see anything. Okay, there's nothing like ls login. Okay,
LS is up.
okay, look at this systemctl that we ran the other time for restarting the SSHD after configuring the SSH for Simi and Depo. You see the command. So that's what this is just telling you. So why am I doing this? I'm just trying to tell you, like, this thing is not difficult. This thing is not hard. It's not like you have to cram it, or like they are just bringing it from heaven. There are ways around it. There are just ways you can easily grab it. Like, it's not like I know all these things offhand, but to a reasonable extent, I know how all these things work, and that's why I'm just taking my time to explain these things to you. Okay, so now after that is being treated, now let's quickly run a simple command, history. This command is very important. History is to recall some of the previous command you've run in the past. So look at this now. If you run just history, it's going to list all the commands I've been running since. You remember when I run username, depo, all this, So let's assume I don't want to type any other thing again. Like, let's assume this is a very long command and I don't want to retype it. Okay. In such scenario now, all you just have to do is just type exclamation, then the number of the command. Let's say I just want to do this number 2. Just type 2 after the exclamation and hit enter. So it's going to run that ls home. Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you. So now that is for getting, like, because there are sometimes you might run a very long command that you might not even be able to recall, just type your history and then you'll be able to see it. Another thing you can do is just hit your arrow up. If I hit maybe you've been noticing, like, I've been calling some commands so fast. I wasn't typing fast anyway. So just type, if you just tap your arrow up, it's going to, okay, let's start now. The first time is going to show number 52. Oh, the last one, which is number 53. So up again is going to show the number 52, which is history. Up again is going to show the number 51. Up again is going to show the number 50. Up again is going to show number 49. So anyone you want to type, just hit enter. Okay, so that is that for history. Am I communicating with someone?
Yes, sir, you are.
All right. Happy to hear that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any other thing I'm missing out? Let me see. I think I'm missing out anything. Okay. Before we move on, do you have any question, please?
No. No, I don't.
I'm seeing the screen now.
Is anybody saying anything?
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, but
My question is, now basically what you just did now is more like command lines for Linux, for Linux.
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually used to some of it already.
Yeah, probably maybe you also have some syntax that are used on your Windows too, definitely. So
Yes.
good. So now the next thing we want to talk about now is, let's talk about piping. There's something we call piping. Okay, there's something we call piping, and when you're talking about piping is just a way for just you're recalling the output. Like, it's a way for using two commands same time, in such a way like the output of the first command is the input of the second command. They call it piping. This is just like your normal pipe, your pipe symbol, this symbol, this is your pipe symbol. So what is this? This is just a way for using the input, the output of the first command as an input. Let's take for instance, now if you do ls, if I run ls here now, what is it doing? You see, it's showing all this file. So this output, instead of it showing all this file for me, I want to use these files as an input into another file, or as an input to the next command actually. So in such scenario now, that's when you run ls, then you put pipe, that pipe space. So what do you want to do with those files? Now, in my scenario now, I want to run a grep. So grep is just a way for grabbing, like you're grabbing, grep something like you're grabbing. So I just want to grab a particular file called moduli. Okay, so let me type this grep. This is a command for grepping. Grep moduli. Okay, so moduli. So what it's going to do now is going to look for the file called, is going to look for moduli, for the word moduli in the result of this ls. So you see, it's only showing moduli. So that's something about this piping. So you'll be doing piping a lot of times. So you'll be using pipe, probably you need the input, the output of a particular command as an input to the next command. That's why you need this piping. Okay. Yeah. Then the next one I actually want us to talk about this night is, let's talk about user management. I'm sorry, not user management. We've talked about user management, how to add your user and how to add password. That's already handled.
Sorry, Bolu. Sorry to cut in. So that pipe symbol, how do I get it on the keyboard?
It depends. It depends on your system anyway. It's pipe. On my Dell, I just do shift /. Shift /.
Okay, thank you. I think I've figured it out. Thank you.
All right. So, now let's talk about file management. File management. Okay, before we talk about file management, let's talk about editing of files. Probably creating files, editing files, and creating directories and all. So now, for let's say, come to this root directory, just like we're talking about. Absolutely, come here. So let me change to the root directory. Now I'm inside the root. Okay, so when I'm doing things that I'm not needing, I prefer to do it inside temp. Or I think I was trying to show you something the other time. Why am I not getting? Okay, it's supposed to show a directory for Simi. I'm not sure why it's not showing the directory. Okay, let me locate Simi. That's suppose it is not found. Okay, find / okay, name Simi. It's supposed to create a directory for Simi. Oh, sorry, I think. Okay, I think
you're signing that as the root user. You might need to exit the root user.
Yeah, it since I'm finding it from the root directory, so that should not actually be any issue. So sorry, thank you mentioned that. Now you remember assigning as I already ran my sudo su. I already gave myself higher privilege by running sudo su. If you want to exit those privilege, just do your exit. You see, it returned me back to the $sign. Okay, so but then that was not supposed to be. But I think there's a way I could have specified that too. OS actually differs. So it also depends on the OS anyway. It also depends on the OS, but I was expecting it to create a file, home directory, that's for Simi by default. But then I think there's a command for creating it too. Okay, look at it. You could easily specify it yourself too. Okay, so but then I was just a little bit confused why it didn't create it by default. Last, probably I think it varies based on OS. Okay, so now let's go to temp. Let me go back to my elevated access anyway. I just love it. It doesn't stress me. So now let's go to temp file. Let's go to temp directory. This temp actually is this TMP. It's a temporary directory. So I just love to do my rough work in temporary directory. So I will not module up things. So I just go to temp. It does auto cleaning, it does auto cleaning, so that's why. So I don't have to bother about deleting something. So if I just want to do rough work, I just come to temp. So now let's create some files now. Let's see what we have inside temp. These are some of the files we have inside temp for now, which is about four files. Okay, so let me create a new file. So if you want to create a file, this is the command you use: make directory, mkdir, then the name of the file. Let's call it Devops. Okay, so let's run ls again and see. You see it has been created, right? It has been created. So let's change it to the Devops. Now we have clear directory. Okay, let's do something now. Let's say we want to create directory inside directory. You can do recursively. You can do that recursively. So let's say we want to make a folder called mkdir. Let me call it class. Now take note when I run this mkdir Devops, the reason why it's created like this was because I was using let me throw it as a question. Why do I have this in this way? Like, I just specify mkdir without any prefix, without nothing, and it's created. It knows where the file was supposed to be created. Can someone just answer that? Okay.
Sorry, sir. Please repeat the question.
All I just did is I just issued this mkdir and the name of the folder I wanted to create. I didn't really tell it where I wanted to be created. It just created it somewhere. If you remember, I spoke about relative.
Hello. Yes,
I spoke about relative. I spoke about relative and absolute directory parts. So this is relative. That's why it's created it here. I could easily say mkdir. /Devops. It's going to create it in the root directory. So now let's do ls root. You see Devops there. You see Devops, right? So I hope someone has a better understanding of relative and absolute part.
Yeah, sure.
All right, good. Let's keep going. So now that's mkdir. We are still inside Devops, inside temp. Okay. So let's create a directory called class Linux inside class. So let's do it like this: mkdir. Oops. I really need to get.
Recording in progress.
suggested that Microsoft what? You said it's Microsoft Team or what? Please.
Yeah, Teams.
Yeah, Microsoft Teams. Yeah.
Okay, Microsoft Team.
Yes, Teams.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should use that one next time now because this one is just logging out.
Yeah, I was even trying to use a premium one, but the premium I was even seeing, they are still telling me 40, very annoying. After paying $15, they are still telling me it's limited to 40 minutes. What did they mean? So
That one is waste of money.
Yeah.
I actually doubt that myself and some of my friends do use the premium one. I don't think I don't know. I don't know. Don't let me say what.
No, my friend actually premium $40. That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot anyway. That and you're supposed if you are paying for premium, you should have unlimited, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You should have unlimited time. I don't know how it is there in Saudi Arabia, but I think you pay that kind of. I think the last one someone paid that I know was I think 25 and it's unlimited.
25 for I now got another one again for unlimited. I think it was around that price anyway. But what really even annoyed me was they are still even limiting the participant to 300. It's really annoying again. And so
shouldn't
like,
be.
why are these guys just like this? So it's a lot more discouraging. Like,
well, let's create our own.
Now money for food do they find now? All right.
So we'll just explore Teams.
That's what I'm saying. I will create we are all developers now.
I will definitely check Teams, sure. So let me share my screen. Teams is better. Okay, noted. I'll try that. Okay, so now let's create the directory inside. Let's say, remember we are inside Devops and Devops directory is blank. So now we want to create a directory inside the directory. Okay, so let's do mkdir class, then /Linux. Expect an error. Okay, look at it. Cannot create such directory, no such file. Why? Because it's expecting to see this directory called class first before Linux. Now, okay, let me create a directory called class for you to see. You see, I've created a directory called class now, and then I now run the first command. Everything will be fine. Okay. Now, let me create another one called class 2. But then I don't want to create it one after the other. In such a way, you have to use a recursive command, which is mkdir-r. So now you are telling it like, okay, it doesn't matter if you see it or if you don't see it, just make sure you create the path if it existed or not. Classes 1, /Linux /today, just it doesn't matter. Is it small r or p? Let me see. Okay, is it p? Let me see p. What's this command? Oh yeah, p. So mkdir-p. So now, if you look at it now, it will have created this directory for you. So let's see, ls class /Linux class 1. Remember, we didn't PC, it's already existing. Linux /today. Now, let me quickly tell you something. It's telling you it's already existing. Let me quickly tell you something. You will notice if you want to know what you are doing is correct, like if you are referring to a part, just do autocomplete. Like, take for instance now, let me do ls class. I just type CLA. If you press tab, it's going to autocomplete it. If I tap it twice, it's going to tell me, let's assume there are 2 or more matches. It's going to list them under. So yes, telling me there's class 1. So class 1, press tab again, then Linux. I just type li, then tab, autocomplete Linux. Why? Because there are no 2 matches. Today, let me just type T. It's going to autocomplete it. Okay, so that's one. And another thing you could also do is, let's say we want to list a file. Take a look at this ls-r. It's going to list both the directory and the subdirectory. So look at it. I typed ls-r. This is telling us, like, under class there's a file called Linux. Okay, so this is also telling us under class 1 there's a file called Linux 1, and this is also telling us under class 1 there's a file called Linux which has a file called today. So if you want to list all, like, if you don't want to be searching it one after the other, you just use recursively, list recursively. So it's going to list everything for you. Okay, so based on the question that Simi asked earlier, how do you know a file from a folder? Let's go back to let's change directory to tmp. Is it tmp? Let's change. Okay, fine. Before we do that, let's talk about creating a file. Let's create our file ourselves. So there are 2 ways of creating file. Mind you, we are still inside Devops. So there are 2 ways of creating file. The first one is using touch. If you use major ways anyway, major ways, not 2 ways, major ways. The first one is using touch. Okay, so if you run your touch, then the name of the file, let's say file 1. What this will just do is going to create a file for you. Okay, so then the second way is using vi. If you use vi, file 2 is going to open the file for you. It's going to open the file, create a file and open it. So you have to type something. Remember, I told you for me to type, if you remember, what next do I have to do for me to type? Once you open a file like this,
You press I.
Yeah, thank you. So I changing, let me do my high. You see it has changed this to insert. Okay, test file. Let me just write something, test file. And for me to exit, I hit my escape, then semicolon. Take note, look at what is going to appear at the bottom of the page. Semicolon WQ. Okay, that is to save. No,
Write and quit.
yeah, write and quit. Before I do that, let me just type Q. If I type Q, it's going to tell me it cannot quit because there's a file already. I've made the changes to the file. Look at it, Q. It's going to tell me no write since last change, So it's telling me it cannot quit because I have a changes inside the file. And it's advising me, like, add exclamation to override. So let me quit without saving. So I have to add this exclamation to it. So let me do ls, the file will not exist. You get, that's because I didn't save. Okay, so let me run it again and insert mode, new file. So escape _ WQ, write and quit ls. The file is already existing. Okay, so I think before the end of this meeting, we should be done. Before the end of this session, we should be done. So now, based on the question that Simi was asking, how do you differentiate file from directory? All you just have to do is ls hyphen, I think capital D. Is it capital D? How do you specify file name? Do I even, let me see, ls hyphen help. Let me see. Is there anything like the, yeah, the generate output designed for Mac? Oh, okay, not the content. Okay, let me see. Is it I/_D small d? How do I even differentiate that anyway? trying to see all file directory. There's this that you can do to, is it F? Oh yeah, so it's hyphen F. So you see, it's as simple as that. You don't really have to memorize all these things. Just know what you have to do per time. So you don't have to really don't have to be scared of all these things. Just know what to do per time. So look at this now. So now this is, you can see the forward slash in front. That is to tell you this is a directory. And those ones without slash is telling you this is a file. So you can differentiate using the color and using this forward slash in front of it. Okay. So now let's show advanced level. Let's do some advanced. Let's advance a little bit. Let's see the file that we've created. So look at the file that was created now. You see this? It's telling us the owner of the file is root and the group is root. Okay. Now is because I created the file as a privileged user, as a sudo user. Okay, so let me exit that sudo privilege. Okay, and go to that same directory. There are some folders that you cannot access if you don't have root access as well. Like take for instance now, let me do something now. If I want to change, presently I'm logged in as what? Who am I? To know that is Ubuntu. I can change my user to be Simi. So for me to change that, you just do su-simi. Trust me, there are a lot of commands you could learn on the job. Okay, you cannot know everything exhaustively. You learn over time. Now, you may not necessarily need this in 5 years' time. That's why I don't really mention it. But the basic things you'll be needing, I will definitely mention it. Okay.
Does SU mean switch user?
Yes. So now, I've been able to switch to Simi. Let me see, who am I now? You see, now I'm now Simi. Now let me try to go to Ubuntu. It will not allow me go to Ubuntu because I don't have. Why is it not even cd home ls Ubuntu? So let me try to change into Ubuntu and see if it's going to allow me. You see, cannot cd to Ubuntu. Why? Because I don't have that privilege. So if I want to have that privilege now, I have to do sudo su, but I didn't really configure Simi to have sudo access. Yeah, I was trying to recollect. I knew I missed out something. If I do sudo su, it's not going to allow me, I think, because it's going to say because Simi is not part of the sudo, Simi is not in sudo file. Thank God I remembered. I knew I omitted something. I was trying to remember this. So how do you do that? That was supposed to be one of the first things we were supposed to configure when we were creating user Simi. To do this, please be careful. There's a file called ls, I think etc. Let me switch user back to Ubuntu. Oh, I didn't create password for Ubuntu, so definitely I might have to exit. Okay, so this is Ubuntu. Now, let me do my sudo su. Why is my internet freezing? Can anyone hear me?
Look, we can.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Nice one. Okay, I don't know. My terminal has freezed. I might need to close this and start again. Okay, let me use this terminal and see. Okay. Let me close this. I use this old one. Okay, so let me log in. /I new Ubuntu at this. Sorry, there was a typo. I was not expecting password request.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Okay, please go ahead fast.
Oh, okay. There's a difference between user hard and add user. But I noticed you've been using user hard since you didn't use add user. And add user is going to like add home directly without even you creating anything. So is there a reason why you're using user hard instead of add user?
Sincerely, there was no reason anyway. Yeah, I think you're actually right. Let me see that. I used to make this mistake. That's true. I remember. I add user Tokwe. Okay, sudo add user Tokwe. Okay. All right. This is even allowing me to create password same time. Okay. I remember I used to use this back then, but I used to make that mistake, truly. Okay, so this is just going to take you through the whole process. You can just use the default. And okay, let's see that. Ubuntu. I'm sorry. Home.
I think one is like an old command.
Yes, one is old
try
command. Yes.
Yeah, one is old command. Ubuntu tried to modify its commands. Its own. Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you for bringing for bringing back that to our attention. Thank you very much, like that. So okay, we want to talk about sudoa access now. So now there's a file called sudoa which is located inside. Okay, let me switch to my elevated user su. So inside etc, I think sudoas. But something about this file is it's very delicate. It can crash a server. So because of that, it is advised that if you want to do anything inside the sudoas file, you use vsudo. So this vsudo is still going to open that same content of that same file, but in a more secured way. So now what I have to do now is look at this part, user privilege specification. I have to add something like this for Simi and Devops so that they can run sudo command. So I can just copy this. Okay, so what am I doing? Shit, I have to be careful. I have to get out of here. I don't even know what I've done. Exit, Control X, no, sudo. It's been a while on Windows, so it's kind of giving me some issues, man. Okay, so something about on when you're using Windows is you can't use Control V to paste. I think you have to not even on Windows. I think on the C2 instance, yes, you have to right click to paste. So
on CMD now, generally.
No, it's not on CMD generally.
Yeah, on CMD generally.
It's not on
CMD generally now. CMD generally.
I use Git Bash. I use Git Bash and I experience the same thing.
Well,
It's general. It's for all command.
So the reason being is that Microsoft noticed that the copy and paste method, people are actually lazy and sometimes they could damage some codes and some command when they are trying to use the CMD. So they disabled that option. You can still enable it anyway, but it's a long process.
Sure, we should start our debate between Android user and iPhone user here as well. Because it's been a while I used my Windows. I'm just using my Windows for this training. I use my Mac.
I'm pro window anytime, so anybody can. I'm pro Windows.
So
or probably because I've actually worked with Microsoft before, so I know their systems.
Okay, great to learn that too. So Simi, so now I have to add something like this. You see, just the same way you did for root. You just copy this and do the same thing for Simi and Depo. You can add it at the end of the file. Okay, so to exit, this actually means Control X. Actually, this what is it called? Is it caret or what is this called? This symbol, you know. So it actually means Control X to exit. So press your Control X. So you said save modified buffer, then say yes. Type your Y. So what is the same name? You know, sudo tmp. Okay, okay, just hit enter. So that's save. So I think after doing that, let me try to open another terminal and see for Simi. How's this? Okay, let me just switch to user Simi. SU Simi. Let me switch to sudo SU and see. Okay, password. Please don't fall my hand, please. All right, it's enough for my hand. So now we are inside Simi. So let's see who am I. Who am I? Root. Okay, that's from Simi, right? Just because we added it as a sudo app. So we can also do the same thing too for Depo. su-depo. So then after that, let's do sudo. Now you know we are already logged in as Depo, right? Who am I? Who am I?
Depo not logged in.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's Depo. So let's do sudo su now. Sudo su and password. So who am I? So that's how to add user to sudo app. And if you want to study more about sudo app, there's a way you can also specify. You can specify instead of, let's open the file again. Now, if you want to view a file without opening the file, it's safer. Use your cat command. So cat will just open the file and close. You know, it's going to just like you are seeing the content of the file and close it. So that's what cat is going to do for you. So let's just view the file and see what we have. Cat etc sudo app. You know, I told you that's the name of the file itself. Or it's not safer to do any editing on the file because it's a very delicate file. So instead you just do vsudo, but I don't want to open vsudo, so just cat sudo as file. So you can see the changes we made. All that we have here, if you want to study more about them, you can study more about them. They are just ways of configuring the privileges. You know, maybe you can configure the directory they have access to. I think if you read all this file very well, you get more details about it. Just if you are interested, you can just go about it. So in such a way you can specify, okay, this file, this user, this is the file I want you to be able to run. This is the command I want you to be able to run. You can specify, you can just play around, using this configuration. Okay, so that's that. Now the next thing we want to talk about is, let's go to tmp. Our tmp file, and which is, we've talked about vi, we've talked about touch. Okay, let's talk about adding modes, user modes, different mode, changing privileges on a file and all. So let's go to cd devops. Okay, cd also omitted something. -lat. A actually is for listing hidden files. There are sometimes we want to see some files. Let's take for instance now. There are some files, some configuration files. They start with dots. Take for instance now. Okay, the other time when we went to Ubuntu, or even when we created Tokwe, if you do ls cd home Tokwe, if you do ls, it will seem as if it was empty, right? But let's do -la. So now you can see these are configuration file. This A actually means all the files. So these are some of the configuration files related to Tokwe. So once you put a dot in front of a file or a folder, it's going to be hiding the file by default. So to see it, you have to use this LA to be able to view all. Okay, so I just remember that. I said let me just bring that to your attention. So now let's go back to our temp file. Let's go back to our TMP, and then we have Devops. Let's go to Devops. So we have all these files now. So let's see what we have on this file. Let's see the privileges. So now I told you all these alphabets, they have their meanings, right? Let's try to create our own. Let's create a new file using this new okay, or probably let me leave this privilege and go to temp and see and create a file cd tmp /devops.
Sorry, but the TMP is what? Sorry, I got lost on that.
It's just a file name. Temporary, okay. Yeah, a temporary directory.
Okay, rather. Temporary file name.
Yes, directory rather. Okay. Yes. So now we have ls. Okay. We have ls. Let's do -lat. ls-lat. ls-lat. So now this is what we have. Let's create a directory. Let's create a directory. Let's call it test and see the privilege that it has. Okay. Now, what this is telling us is, it said I don't have privilege to be able to create inside this Devops. Let me go one step back. Oh, I think I didn't mention this. So if you want to go a step back, like you want to exit a directory as well, you know, like if you look at this now, take a look at pwd. We are inside TMP Devops, right? Let's assume we just want to go back to temp, to TMP. You know, one step back, just do cd / /. It's going to go back one step. So let's do pwd. You see, it's inside temp. Or let's say cd. Let me go to my privileges at first. So let's do cd devops. Then what do we have after devops? Let's say class 1. Then we have Linux. Then we have today. So let's run our pwd. You see, this is the directory. So let's go one step back to Linux. So just do cd ... It's going to go one step back. Run your pwd, one step back. So another thing I can do is, if you remember, let's do ls. Let's run ls inside the temp directory. ls inside temp directory. Please, I hope I'm not too fast.
No, right on.
At all.
Please, if you think I'm too fast, please
we'll
stop.
have to do a recap. We'll definitely do a recap on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me do ls temp. Temp. Oh, I didn't want this to meet me here. Devops. Okay. Inside this Devops now, we have a file called class, and we have another file called class 1. Directory called class and another directory called class 1. But presently, we are inside class 1. Okay. So now, if I want to go to temp Devops class instead of class 1, I can just say cd. Okay, please go back to the first step, which is ... So that first ... is going to take me back to class 1, right? Then go back another step, that is to DevOps, which is ... Okay, so if I hit enter now, it's going to take me to DevOps. But now, after taking me to DevOps, I now want you to now go to class instead of class 1. You know, I've exited this class 1 now. Now, I'm inside this directory, which we have class 1, file 1, and file 2. So I can now say, okay, please take me to class. How do you know if it's correct? Just hit your tab. Remember, I said the autocomplete. Just type the first 2 characters and tab. It's going to even autocomplete if it's correct. Now, doing this now, it has taken me to my class. So you can just play around those. You know, I just bring that. It's not a must. You can always navigate, you know, when you get used to it. So don't get scared. That is just a bonus. If you think you cannot grab it, don't worry about it. You might not need it. Over time, you get used to it. Okay. So now, let me go back to my class now. Let me go back.
Hey, please, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, okay. There's something I don't understand. You move two way backward.
Yes. Yes. I moved 2 way backward. Yes. And 2 steps backward.
You should stop at two way backward.
2 steps backward. Yes.
Is it because of your?
It's just navigating, because I was just trying to navigate around. You may not bother about that. If that is confusing, just don't worry. You can just do it 1 step at a time. I was just trying to give you a shortcut. You can just leave that. Okay. So now let's just continue. We are inside. You know, just like I said there are some things you just have to ignore, you know, that you may not really bother yourself. You will learn all those on the job while you get used to it. And there are some things, there are basics that you have to know about. That is my major concern. I just want to make sure you know some of the basic commands that you'll be needing as we proceed in this class. So I don't really want you to really bother yourself about some deep details. Okay, just know it on the surface and be able to know be able to navigate around in the barest minimum, at least. So at least it's not like you're confused when you see a command. That's what matters right now. All this you learn on the job. Okay, so now let's move ahead. I actually want to talk about file permissions. Now, these are file permission. Let's do ls. Let's do ls here. ls -lat. What am I doing? ls-lat. So we have this. Now, I told you this as minis. Okay, so let me quickly do something now. Let me create a directory for you so I can explain better. Test. Let me call it test. And I just want to use it to explain. Just hold on first. 777 test. So let me run -lat. So now look at it now. Look at the test that I created. Look at what happened. You see, it's different. So this is what I definitely want to show you. This D in front is actually telling you it is a directory. This first D is telling you it is a directory. This hash actually is telling you it's a file. Okay, so after that first character, either D or dash, you should have 9. You should have 9 other characters. So those 9 characters, you split them into 3. Okay, 3 each. So this first 3 is property that belongs to the original user, which is root. The owner of the file is root. Okay, so this is just a property. This is describing something to you. This R actually means write, read, W means write, and X means execute. So what this is telling you is user root can read, can write, and can execute anything inside this directory. The next three character is telling you group, is pointing to group. So the group that this file, this folder belongs to, this is telling you like the groups can read, can write, can execute. And the next three is talking about properties that belongs to other users, every other users on the system, Simi, Tope, every other people. Is telling you like they can read, they can write, they can execute. Okay, so now let's go to this file one. This dash is actually telling you this is a file. So the next three character is read, write, and dash. So what this is telling you is user root can read and can write. Can read, write, but cannot execute. Okay, so execute in this scenario actually means maybe when we are talking about bash scripts. Okay, like you want to execute a script. Yeah, please, I think it's just something when you're talking about bash scripts, you can just read about bash scripts. Okay, so like you want to run it. If you want to run a script, there's a way you run a script. I told you about scripts, but all you just need is learn this basic command first before you start talking about bash scripts. So what this is telling you is root cannot really execute, and this root is telling you the all other groups can only read, but they cannot write and execute. Okay, and this write is telling you all other groups can only read, they cannot write, they cannot execute. Okay, so now let me change this file access now. If I want to change this file access now, okay, another thing I actually want to talk about is I told you split them into three. So R, there's a weighted point to each of these character. R is 3. They call R3. Okay. W, give me notepad. R, the weighted point for R is 3. The weighted point for W is it R3? No, R is 4. R is 4. The weighted point for W is 2. And the weighted point for X, I told you what each of these characters means, is 1. So now, if you take note, when I ran the command here, I ran command chmod 777. So what this 77 actually means is the first 7 is the user, that's the owner of the file. Give it user privilege of 7. That's why you have DRW. Then I said the group 7, DRW. The group other user 7. What this is just telling you is a sum. So now if I just say if I should run this command chmod 766. So what this is telling it like, okay, the main user which is root, give it read write. Okay, so it's going to give you something like this. Let me see if you understand. Can someone just call it to me?
Read, write, hyphen.
The first one will be read, write, execute, because it's 7. A summation of all this, which is 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7. So it means it has everything, which is read, write, execute. Then the next one is 6, which is a summation of 4 and 2, which is read and write. Read and write, then hyphen. Then the third one is read, write, hyphen. Thank you. Now, if I do another one, chmod 731, this will just give us read, write, execute. Okay.
Read, write,
then this one will be write and execute.
Right.
So there to be hyphen.
Then
Read
just
was come
execute.
first. Hyphen. Then write.
Recording in progress.
So you should try and summarize. Oh. People are leaving already.
Yeah, this is
So you should try and
this is
yeah.
actually the last part anyway. So let's just do this.
Okay.
I'll conclude. This is the
Okay.
last part.
Yeah.
This last part is
Now
the
go there so say
yeah. This last part, this Linux part. Let me tell you, this Linux part to me, I kind of feel is kind of the might be the most boring part of the whole thing. It's the most boring part of the whole thing. Every other thing, at least you're seeing the
okay.
results. So I understand how it can be, and that's why myself I'm trying to take enough time. It's not like the others, like you're seeing the results. You just have to wrap your head around it. Just understand this Linux first. And this is where we're going to conclude tonight anyway. So let me just finish this and we call it a day. Oh, is it recording?
You are even tired too. Ha! How about Megira?
Is that true? Should we continue from here next class?
You are even tired.
Yeah, I can. I am definitely, but I know I just have to finish this.
Thank you very much.
Let,
Thank you very, very much.
let's continue, please.
Okay.
Tonight.
Till which night?
So now,
I was actually kidding. So far it's about to be done. I think we should just try and finish it up.
Yes.
Once and for all. Rather waiting for the next class. Next class is Sunday, right? So
yes. Yes.
yeah, so that's a long way. So ahead of that next class, could have just referred to the recorded session so that I can grasp everything.
I'm thinking of you making it twice a week anyway, so you guys can practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way work.
I'm thinking of, because the practice too is necessary.
Okay. The point is, if you know the parts that we actually need, then if you can deliver that within 2 days, then we'll use the remaining days to practice.
Exactly.
Sorry to jump in. Some of us are very busy weekdays. So that Sunday is going to be a time that will give our time really to the class. Like now, I'm in another meeting, but I'm still trying to catch up. So Sunday will really work for majority of people.
Yeah.
Some people are still on the road.
So we can do maybe
Yes,
Sunday. Sunday and Wednesday should have been best, but I do midweek service on Wednesday, so Wednesday.
We can do any other day, please. Any other day, it's fine. Sunday is best for majority of us.
Yeah. So maybe Thursdays and Sundays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, we can do Thursdays and Sundays. All right, no problem. I'll pass that across.
Thank you.
So now, 731. Let's continue with 731. So 731, the first is R, the next is W, and the last is X. So it has to be in that order. So the second one is 3, right? That means there's no R. Okay. So then this is going to give us WX, and then 1 actually means hyphen X. So what will this one give us? CH mode 762. Can I get
RWX?
Okay.
Hyphen RW.
No hyphen.
RW hyphen
W hyphen. Yes. So this is what this is going to give us. Okay. So that's just how you manipulate this file access. So now let me run it so that you can see. It's not a guesswork. So I believe you are seeing it with me, like all these things that they just run. It's not like they bring it from heaven. They are just pure logics. Just have a good understanding of these things. Sorry, a minute. Sorry, please, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back.
Kindly mute yourself, oh please, oh everybody.
Yeah, so let's go to TMP, Devops. So this is what we were working with. So ls-lat. So this is what we have. So let's run that on our test that we created and see what we have. So let's run our -lat again and see. So you see it has changed it from this to this. Okay, so now there's also another one that you can use. If you don't want to use that is interesting, and there's another one that you can use. We have U actually stands for user. G actually stands for group, and O actually stands for other users. Okay, so you can just run your chmod and say, okay, please guy, just do this for me. Chmod, remove let me see what's common here. On this file we have SSX. Okay, so remove SSS, remove all the executable privilege from all the users. So how do you do that? You just do, okay, let's assume you only want to remove for other user. You want to remove this executable for other user, this X for other user. I can just say O minus executable on test, like minus, you are just removing this X from test of other users. So now it's going to maintain the others and remove the other users. Is going to have dash all through. So let's run this and see. So let's do our -lat and see. So you can see it has removed the hex, and then I can also add it back. Just put plus. If I change this back to plus, it means add executable to it, make it executable by other users. You see that returned the hex.
Yeah. Then this is better.
Anyone that you feel is convenient. So you can also run for all at once. So you can just say, I think you should be able to use A. I think you should be able to use A to remove X from everything. What's this? Okay, so let's run lat and see. So you should remove X from everything. Okay, so you see it has removed X from everything. And let's add it back. Let's add it back. Why is my internet messing me up now? So let's run our -lat. So you see it has added it back. And then you can just say remove for all other user and G. Okay, so it's going to remove for other users and G. So you can just play around. So you can see it removes for other users and G. So you can just play around. And that is it. And then the last one, how to remove a file. So let me quickly remove this file. If you want to remove a file, just say rm, then the name of the file. But please be always careful. Relative part and absolute part, very, very paramount. So now look at it, rm, delete this file. So now I've removed the file. You see there's no more file 2. But if I run rm test, it's going to tell us it's a directory. For you to delete the directory, you have to put R. Okay, R actually means recursive. Okay, -R, that's option R. You see this option R. Without R, you see it complained, but when I added option R, it removed it. So ls, you see it has removed test. Okay, so now caveat emptor. Please don't go and run rm /. please, so especially when you now add RF to it. RF actually means recursively it's going to wipe away your system. You don't want to try that. So see,
Just like dropping database from production.
you've crashed your system. RM, I don't run RM in a rush. I make sure I think twice before I run my RM. Make sure you think twice, like drink water, relax, know what you are doing. Don't, because you want to go out with your friend, now quickly run RM, and it's very dangerous. Please be careful. Run your PWD, do your job. You can't recover it. Probably on Windows, you still go to recycle bin. But yeah, it's gone and it's gone forever. So I think that should be it for today. So probably for the next class, you can just, today's Thursday, yeah. So we have like 2 days to prepare the whole weekend. So I think we can still have
Bolu, you have entered tomorrow. Bolu,
yes,
you have entered tomorrow. I'm seeing your time, 12:16.
yes. So today is Friday. So you have
So good morning.
Thank you. So you have Friday, Saturdays, and probably Sunday to practice, please. Because next class, we should be going to JIT. I want us to do GIT next class.
Okay, thank you very much.
And if you have any question, please feel free to reach me. And if it requires me to do a quick question and answer class, no problem. I will happily do that. Just let me know.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
so much.
And again, please, this video I'll be putting it on the YouTube channel anyway. That's which is me and my wife have a YouTube channel we are running for lifestyle. The reason why I could not put it on the tech channel is because we have a limit. I think you need like 100 subscribers or so to be able to run live. So I was not able to do that. So I'm just trying to get a lot of people. Maybe we can just get like 100 subscribers to be able to run live on the channel. So I should be able to live stream and be putting the video. But right now, it's still on the lifestyle channel. That's why I'm not making it public, because it's going to conflict what the channel is all about. So as you're checking the video, you can also do well. Please just subscribe, check out what we have. If you think you can share, I will happily love you. Just share and all. And, see you in the next class. Okay?
No problem, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you, Bolu.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Hello, Bolu. Sorry, I still hear us.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, Bolu.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, when are you going to drop? When are you going to drop the video? Is it tonight, please? Because I was in another meeting.
The video is on the YouTube as it's live streaming. Let me see if it's even still there. Yeah, it's still there. So in the next 20 minutes, I'll just drop it immediately anyway.
Please. Thank you very much for your time. My regards to madam.
All right. She's carrying you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Recording.